I want to tell you guys the truth about day trading and what it really entails. A lot of people, they come into trading and they don't really understand what they're going to get themselves into and what they're going to even come across when they're learning such set skill. And people do have the idea of saying trading is so easy, this and that. Trading is easy when you have the skill set in the back of your pocket, when you understand truly and you go through the trials and errors. Now, in order to get to those trials and errors, you need to go through a set of failures, consistent failures. You need to lose, lose, lose. Because again, every single loser was once a loser, but they only won, right? Because every single person who won was once a loser. And every single loser either stays a loser or they become a winner and are known for being a winner without knowing the losses they had to go through to become a winner, right? And that entails with anything in life. It doesn't have to be trading, it could be any other skill set, it could be a job even, or anything in life. But the thing is, when you get into trading, the ideology is, okay, I'm going to get into trading and I'm going to make a shit ton of money. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little backstory about myself. I'm 19 years old. I live in Miami. I have a little high rise here, and I trade. I've been trading for a good amount of time now. I have the experience, and I educate people on how to trade. Now, obviously, you're like, oh, course seller guru. Yeah, you got to realize though, when I first got into trading, I really had no guidance. I was learning this shit on my own. I was going through hours of YouTube videos. I was going through hours of just random courses trying to put it all together, and I had no clear sense of direction. Now, the reason why I do this is because I give that people the sense of direction and the kind of guidance that I wish I had when I was first starting, because that would have saved me a lot of time from trial and error, going through all my mistakes, and really just questioning if this shit was going to work. Now, I am proof in the pudding, and I am living proof that trading is something that is sustainable and it can be done long term and really will change your life, because I wouldn't have fathomed I would be in this position right now if I stopped trading. If I just didn't stop, if I stopped trading, I didn't continue pursuing it, I probably wouldn't be anywhere where I am today. Now, I was 19. I am 19, and when I first kind of endeavored into my entrepreneurship was around 15. When I was 15 years old, that's the time when I woke up. I was still in high school. I was around sophomore, maybe like freshman, sophomore in the high school, and I was pretty much just no guidance, right? I was confused. I didn't know what I wanted to do with life. I had no body. I had no physique. I was pretty ugly, and no girl really looked my way. And that kind of motivated me in the sense to improve myself in all aspects. When it came to going to the gym, when it came to reading, and it came to educating myself about certain skill sets, and those skill sets carried on, right? But during that time, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I was just trying to better all aspects of my life. When it came to God, when it came to psychology, when it came to emotional control, and all these set aspects and all these skills. Now, going to 15, 16, obviously, I was doing my thing. I was going to the gym. I was, learning, educating myself. When it came to me starting to trade around, I started trading when I was 15. When it came to me going 16 and actually trading with real money, that's kind of where everything started entailing. I was so indulged. I just loved trading. I loved the idea of making money. I loved the idea of making $100 for my screen. I love the idea of making $200 for my screen. Making money like that really changed my aspect, right, and changed my ideology. And I started working at Winn-Dixie at 15 years old just to fund my trading and just to fund my investments, and I really kept none of that money. All that money went to going to learning to mistakes, investing into my live accounts, and really just growing and investing into myself. And that kept on happening for maybe a whole year until I really started seeing good money from trading. And I started trading with stocks and options, and that was kind of what really got me into trading and got me into, just understanding the markets and how it truly works, and it paid off. When I was about 17, I had ended up, getting kicked out of my parents' crib, and I had no money to my name. And I had lost all that money around that time when I was 16 or 17. I had lost a good amount of money, and I really had nothing. My parents really wanted me to go to school. They wanted me to continue. I was failing in school. They wanted me to become a doctor. They wanted me to become a lawyer. And I just really was questioning myself, and I was questioning if this was really going to work. Now, when I turned around 17-ish, I think it was like about to be 18. Yeah, when I turned 17-ish, I had gotten kicked out, and I had went to, figure shit out on my own. Now, I ran away from my parents' crib for a little bit. I wasn't really talking to them. I kind of, just was to myself. I started my own pressure washing business, and that really got me into kind of a point in my life where my back was on the wall, right? I had really nothing, like absolutely nothing. All I had was the skills that I knew, and I had the mindset that I had. And that mindset that I had of just staying persistent and never giving up no matter how hard things got, that's what got me here, right? And when I was starting my pressure washing business, I was learning how to run ads, I was learning how to make a full, actual fledged business, and I'd gotten the equipment, I'd gotten everything for my money that I reinvested into, and I was just reinvesting just to grow it, right? And the moment that I got some type of, traction from knocking on doors and just consistently putting myself out there for hours on day in the sun, in Florida, of course, knocking on doors consistently, getting a couple pressure washing jobs for cleaning driveways, for doing roofs, all that, that was the money that I reinvested to continue trading because I never gave up on it. And I really had no clear direction. I didn't know if what I was doing was working or not, but I had faith. And I knew that this skill was something that I'm fully attainable of achieving. And when I turned 18, I finally got back to my parents' crib and I kind of cleared the air with them. I had good money to my name. The business ran off for a little bit, and then I switched to futures. Futures is where that money really kind of started picking up at. The first month I didn't really see much success, but after that first month I got my first payout. And I've already made good money from trading before that during my years, and I really don't know where that money went, but that money went somewhere, of course. And that kind of just gave me that taste of success. And when I turned 18 and I started trading futures, I got that first payout, and I decided to go ahead and pretty much go and drop the pressure washing. The pressure washing was there, right? I was making money from it, but I wanted to fully focus on the futures. Now, I made some good money. I started traveling a little bit, went back to my hometown in Morocco, saw family, and I made money. I got through some setbacks, whatever. And during that August-ish time, I was still making money from trading, but I really just wasn't happy with the amount. So I wanted to at least have some type of stability. So I went to go work my dream job, quote unquote, which is Geek Squad. And I got that job, and I was working that job for not too long. And during my second month working there, I was still trading consistently. I was going to work, I was trading on my phone on the way to work, I was doing what I needed to do to show up and just be printing consistently and just learning my model and just making sure that I had everything on lock. Now, when I got to my job, I had my biggest month after that second month at working at Best Buy. I had cleared $46K month in payouts that singular month, and I had ended up pretty much proceeding to go ahead and quit that job the next 2 weeks right after that, after I secured that big month, and I doubled down on trading. I took trading way seriously. I was really just locking in on trading. I was locking in on myself. I was locking on everything else, and the money just kept flowing through, right? I was receiving consistent payouts, and I decided, you know what? I have 6 figures liquid to my name. I'm going to go move to Miami. And that was one of the best decisions that I've ever done. I had moved to Miami. I had saved some money for my rent. I had saved whatever I needed to do, and I came down to Miami, and I was obviously just growing, right? I was growing as a person, network of people who were like-minded like me, and there was a lot of setbacks when I came to Miami. There was people who would sneak me, there was people who would fucking use me, and that's a part of it, you have to learn from that. But the truth is, I had to go through all that in that past and in my previous years to get to where I am today, and everyone needs to, right? Trading could be simple, trading could be easy. As long as you have the right guidelines and you're not confused, you're not going to have to end up in that loop of just consistent failures and not knowing what the fuck you're doing. And after I quit, came to Miami, beautiful high-rise, obviously, as you guys can see here. This is the view from balcony, very beautiful, and I trade consistently. I'm doing my thing, I'm making consistent money, I'm teaching people and educating people on how I do the same thing. I've networked with a lot of like-minded people and a lot of great people who have got me to higher points in my life and really just brought me up, right? And that moving out and really just doing that thing was one of my biggest goals, right? I wanted to hit 10K in a single month. I've already blown past that. I wanted to move out in a high-rise in Miami. I already got that. And that's what I had in mind, and that's what I was doing to get there. I was trading, and I was going through those failures, and you had to go through that, right? Now, I'll put a picture up, but this is me when I was, around like 16 years old. I was ugly as fuck, right? No girl was attracted to me. I pretty much just got no attention from girls, and the only thing I could really do is focus on myself, right? Because I knew there's no point in focusing on girls if I can't really attract them, and the only thing I could really do is just make money and better my life and better myself, and to get that, have everything come to me. So during that time, as you guys can see now, in Miami, it's a lot easier when you have money, when you have status, when you have certain things. The girls just come to you, right? You don't have to chase them. You build your garden so the butterflies can come and sit at your garden and enjoy what you've already built and created. And it's a blessing. It really is a blessing, and there's a lot more to life to come. And I just want to be brutally honest with you guys. Trading is not a simple, sweet game. I had to go through so many trials and errors. I had to get, pretty much just consistently batted down by my parents, saying, lock in with school, stop bullshitting, this isn't going to work for you. But they didn't really understand. They didn't understand what the possibility of, being able to achieve that much money from the markets consistently and being able to do what I need to do what's necessary to get to where I am today. So I just wanted to be honest with you guys. I want to sit down here and talk to you guys for a short amount of time. But if you guys do have doubts in yourself or do have doubts in the skill of day trading, do not let that stop you from taking this skill seriously, because this skill really pay off. It pays off consistently, and I know you guys will achieve that amount of success. And I love you guys. And if you guys have any questions, drop them in the comments. And you guys want to learn how to actually trade and get mentored by me one-on-one, click the link in my bio or my description. I love y'all boys, and I'm see y'all very, very soon.